This conference will now be recorded.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this morning. My name is John Scheel. I'm the Vice President here at Heartland LTC. Today we have a special guest, Lori Guvash, the Vice President of National Sales at National Guardian Life, or NGL. She's going to take us through Essential LTC, their long-term care portfolio or long-term care product. It's been around for a couple of years now, but we haven't really had the marketing blitz that we're going to be doing this coming year on this. It is a very unique product. It fits into so many different holes that we feel it is a very nice product that fits into all sorts of niches, traditional, hybrid, you name it. This product has a feature that's probably going to be something that a client is looking for. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Lori, and let's go for it.
Thanks, John. And thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day. I know this time of year, everybody is extremely busy trying to get a jump on sales for the year. And for me, I always like to kind of set those goals in January and figure out where we're going. And I definitely think that when we launched this product a few years ago, it filled a place in this market space that has never really been filled before. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself so you have an idea of where I come from. And I've known John for a number of years, and I've known Bob as well, as a partner with them in the long-term care, National Long-Term Care Network, because I was with a BGA in the past. I also sold in the past. So I do understand how important it is to have a great portfolio and have great products to sell. I will tell you that our product does fit a lot of niches, but I will also tell you that no one product is the best product. As we all know, it's really important to place your client where they're best going to be suited, and that all comes from the conversation you have. So what I want to do today and our agenda is we're going to talk about what's new with NGL, because we have made a few exciting changes to our product since the inception. Really how to have the LTC funding conversation. We're going to do a little bit of a competitive analysis. And then I want to talk a little about worksite and executive carve out, because I think that with some of the features we have, we really fit in that executive carve out market space. Now, I'm not talking group, because as we know, group can be cumbersome. People want to have different ways that they can pay for it, i.e. get the simplified underwriting. And that's not what we have. But because of the way that our product is structured, you can do some great things with businesses with our work site. And then I do want to have a time at the end where we can do questions. And I'm going to put this one on John to kind of monitor if there's any questions so that we can make sure to answer those at the end. So a little background on our company. We are a mutual company, and we were formed back in 1910. We have an A- rating from AM Best. Our goal is to become a market leader in long-term care. And when the product was formed, we partnered with Life Care Assurance, who has expertise in long-term care. They have administered over 220,000 policies since inception. And they've been in the long-term care market space for over 30 years. And Life Care is the back office for National Guardian Life, for our long-term care. And I personally love having a company such as Life Care because of their expertise. All of the marketing and sales support is now being done by myself and the team on our sales, which is the head of our department is Joe Guyot, who some of you may know his name. He was with a former carrier. And then we also have Lawrence Vivenzio, and many of you may have spoken with him as he was an employee of Life Care. And when the change was made of them leaving, doing the marketing and sales to us, we moved Lawrence over under NGL. So we have a very strong team really to support you. We have pretty strong product availability, although I'm sure there are some of you on the call that are from California, possibly New York, but right now we do not have our product in New York, Montana, or California. We are in the process, however, of getting it approved in California, and we're in the beginning stages as well with New York. And Montana, we'll see what happens there. So for us, you know, we're out there. We also have a lot of states that have partnerships. So you can utilize this product with many of your clients. We have a new president and CEO as of a year ago, and he is a wonderful man who came from, by way of Thrivent, through a couple of other companies. Where I got to know him was back at Thrivent, and he is a very knowledgeable person in this industry, but he really understands the sales side as he was in the sales environment, which I think really helps because it helps our teams understand what's needed on the sales side. Sometimes it gets too corporate, and he really wants to make sure that this is a consumer and sales-centric company for our consumer. Policy lifetime commission renewals is something that we have new. We have an online pre-qual that you can use. I actually spoke with a couple of different entities yesterday, and that was one of the things that they really were saying was great, was our new pre-qual online. So definitely utilize that. We have updated marketing materials and training materials that are out on the website. And if you have not registered for the website, definitely go out and do that. You don't have to be appointed to get a registration, but it'll give you an opportunity to go out there and see what we have as far as marketing materials. And it'll also share with you some competitive intelligence in the way of webinars that we've done in the past. And that's where the recorded webinars and workshops would be. So traditional LTC really can be what you want it to be. Price, value, and flexibility is really something that we have. And what I love about our product is because we have so many different riders, and I've heard in the past, oh my gosh, there's so much. You know what? I always build any case that I'm doing like I would any other carrier. You know, maybe 3-year, 3%, $150 a day. That's a basic. But the beauty is when you're out talking to your client and you're doing the planning with them, you're able to adjust it based on what they say is important to them. When you're dealing with somebody that is a couple, we have a shared care that is called shared benefit. It's amazing because it's actually giving you a third pool. So you really have to look at that as it's not a traditional looking shared care product. You know, let's call the couple Bob and Sue. Bob has his plan and say it's $250,000. Sue has her plan that's $250,000. And then there's a third pool of $250,000. So when you look at that, you have over $700,000 in benefit versus $500,000. We have the 3% and 5% compound inflation options. You can do a lifetime benefit with our plan. And then we have anywhere between 2 and 6 years. We have single, 10, and lifetime premium options. And we'll talk a little bit more about the limited pay options we have. The great thing about the limited option offerings is those are what really fit when you're doing executive carve-outs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The return of premium that we have and our surrender are also great riders that give you flexibility with your client. We also have a lot of sales ideas to help you, and I am always available for a phone call if you're not able to get a hold of John, who, by the way, is great at coming up with scenarios to help you put cases in play. And then our worksite executive carve out, we can make our product look like an asset-based product by doing a single pay, and the way that it's built, it makes it look phenomenal. We can do 1035 exchanges into it. So you've got some really amazing flexibility that you don't necessarily have to go out and sit down with your client and spew it all, but you can sit there and have that conversation with your consumer. And you don't have to have 5 or 6 different scenarios in front of you. You can open our software, and based on the conversation you're having with your client, you can move in different directions. And I was told by 2 different advisors yesterday that when they go out to our website and they utilize our software, how easy and straightforward it is to utilize. Now, for me, I think it is because, I'm out there all the time. But it's really good to hear that from advisors that are in the field that are running their own quotes. So know that it's an easy thing for you to do. There are also different ways, because of the creativity of the way this product was built, that you have many different funding sources that you can utilize with our product. If you're doing the 1035 exchange option or want to, because of the Pension Protection Act, you can 1035 money out of an annuity or a cash value life insurance policy into our product. And that gives some great flexibility. We all have clients that have, products that was put in place in the past that maybe they don't need anymore, or they have that annuity, that what if annuity that they purchased back when annuity rates were really high, and it maybe still has a minimum floor of 4%, and so they've never touched it. That would be something that would be amazing to 1035 into our product, because that 1035ing in will make any gain tax-free upon usage of the long-term care insurance. So you've got that creativity to do single pay into our product. They can also use savings and investments by utilizing the single pay or the 10-year premium payment options. Doing a 10 pay if they want to get it paid up so they don't have to worry about having a rate action, or they own a business and they want to be able to do it through the business. Lots of options. We also have some great product features that I want to kind of go into, and then we'll talk a little bit about the competitive analysis. I do hear
a couple things, Gilbert.
Let me take care of that.
Thanks.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, thanks, John. Okay, so I'm going to show a couple of scenarios. We have insured 1, let's call him Bob, and insured 2, we'll call that Sue. I hate using insured 1 and 2. It's easier to have a name. So Bob and Sue, they want a joint policy, okay? So the great thing about how you can build this is if you do the joint policy design, you put that shared benefit rider on there, and you've got a third pool. So if either one of them exhausts their benefits, they have that third pool that's accessible to them. It's accessible to either one of them or both at the same time, but they're not having to go into their partner's benefit. I personally think that that is such a positive when you're talking to your clients. So if you're putting a shared rider on, know that you're not talking apples to apples when you're comparing us to, say, another carrier, a mutual carrier out there, or even another, traditional carrier, not to be named, because you put that shared benefit on theirs and they're having to dig out of each other's pool. This is giving that third pool, so ultimately it's giving you more benefit. So that's something you really, really want to point out, because while pricing may be a little bit more, and quite frankly, it's not a ton, they're getting more benefit, and it's quite a bit more benefit. Okay. I hate when it does that, but we will move on. Okay, so let's look at a 55-year-old couple. They have a $3,250 budget, and they are looking at what if they have a claim in 30 years. This really shows you where the rubber hits the road. You have a 5-year benefit period for our product because of the shared, where the mutual carrier has a 3-year. This is a joint policy that is giving a total combined benefit amount with those dollars. Ours is giving $705,000 benefit. The mutual carrier is only giving $405,000 roughly. With that shared benefit, you've got over $2 million in total combined benefit in 30 years with us. And that other carrier, there's only $810,000. That right there, I think, shows a huge benefit for your client. I am showing the best available rate class. However, even when you show our standard against the other carrier's standard, you're still seeing a larger benefit pool. So we really do have something special in the case of a couple. We also have return of premium riders. And I think when you look at our rider, we have a limited return option where you put that premium in. If you have the claim, you still may have some of your dollars left. Say they only used a half a year of benefit and there is benefit left. With that limited return of premium rider, the remainder of that beneficiary dollars or premium that was left in that policy would go to the beneficiaries. So you have that option to put on there. And then we also have a benefit rider where if they went in that limited scenario, if they went through all of the benefit, there would be no money left for the beneficiary. At death, those premiums would be paid, reduce the claim, as we all know. Now, our full return of premium is regardless of the claim. If a client puts that full return of premium on there, at death of the insured, the total premiums paid will be paid to the beneficiary. So if you have that client that's all about the, oh my gosh, if I don't use it, I'll lose it, you've got the option to put that full return of premium on there. And I've seen that put on with the single pay option. I've seen it put on with a 10 pay, and you can even do it with, annual pay. But putting that return of premium rider on there really can help take care of that if you've got a client that is, not wanting to move forward. So I really look at our product as a product that if you need long-term care or don't need it, or you want to cancel it, you can still put a person in our product because we've got the surrender values up to 80%. If you cancel it, we've got the return of premium if they don't need the long-term care. Your client isn't going to be out. So you can really build something for them that's going to be the right thing for them. And you can combat any of those what if I don't use it? What if I, only use a part of it? You can work with your clients on how to build it. And we've probably heard what another carrier used to say, live, die, and quit. They really can't say that anymore, but we definitely can. You can do any of that with this product. Here is another competitive scenario that I want to just share, and this is kind of to compare it against a hybrid product, linked benefit product, whatever you call it. So I'm looking at a single premium for the NGL product and the MoneyGuard 2 product. Single premium of $150,000 going into each, and it's a combined amount for us in a single premium, and then you have $75,000 plus $75,000 for the two insureds on the MoneyGuard side. We have a 5-year benefit. Theirs is a 2+4 benefit because they put the extension on it. We have the shared benefit rider on there. Our product is going to have 2.3, almost 2.4 million in benefit, and the MoneyGuard is going to have 1.6 million in benefit. Right there, I think that shows you the power in 30 years of what our product can look like. The Essential LTC has so much flexibility there. If you don't need the long-term care benefit, they're going to get their premium back if they put the rider on it of $150,000. If they cancel it, it's going to be $120,402. With MoneyGuard, if they don't need it, they'll get $210. But if they cancel it, they'll only get $120 back. So if we're really focusing on our death benefit or the long-term care benefit, you're getting a bigger bang for your buck by putting the shared benefit rider on our product. Now let's look at the Care Matters. Same, we've got a 5-year benefit for us, a 6-year for them. We've got 2.3 for long-term care. They have 1.4. If it's not needed, they get $196,500 roughly. With us, it's $150. If they cancel with us, it's $120. If they cancel with them, it's $146. What we're looking at is that long-term care benefit, and ours is practically double. Tell me your client seeing that isn't going to say, I think I want to have that bigger benefit, because that's where people are nervous. People are nervous that if they buy the product, they're not going to have enough benefit. They're not going to be able to take care of both of them. Our product is going to secure for each one of them $750,000 in benefit, but then they also have that third pool that is then going to give them more benefit. And as you know, the benefit period is the multiplier. If they're not using the full daily benefit, it's going to move forward for them. They're not going to lose it. So always keep that in mind as well, and let them know that we use that as the 5-year as the multiplier. They're using 6, but essentially we talk the bucket and they have that until it's gone. So how do you get an appointment? You have to ask permission. One of the things that I always laughed about is where I used to be, we used to get a lot of consumer calls in. And we'd ask them if they had a financial advisor, and most of them said yes. And they didn't know if their financial advisor did long-term care or not. They heard about it and they wanted more information. They wanted the information and they reached out. There have been studies done that talk about the fact that most people are having to ask about it. It's not being brought up in the conversation. We simply just have to ask, we've done a good job of planning for your retirement. But if something happens to you in retirement and either you or your spouse need care, have you thought about what you want that plan to look like? They're going to either say yes or no. You've made it a yes or no answer, which is always better than them saying nothing. And if they say yes, all you have to say is, would you mind just sharing with me what that plan looks like? Because many of them are going to say, oh, I'm going to self-insure. That gives you an option to then say, have you thought about doing it another way? And then if they say no, you can sit there with a piece of paper and you can start talking to them about, would you want to stay in your home? Do you think you'd have to move? Would you need home modifications? Would you have to use your retirement? Would you have kids that would help you? Are your kids in the same state? All those different questions help you build a story. And then that story you're building can then talk to them about the options that they have. But if you're not willing to ask the permission to talk about it, you're never going to find out if they need it or have it. I now want to talk a little bit about worksite and executive carve out for our product, because I think this is a marketplace that gets missed because people think, oh, first of all, I don't want to talk about it because it, is messy, and then we have to offer it to everybody, and then it gets to be a lot of work. If you use this as a worksite executive carve out, if you use it for a golden handcuff, if you're utilizing long-term care as a tax benefit for a corporation, an expense that they can write off when they're doing well, long-term care meets so many different places for them, especially if you're dealing with a smaller company, because in many cases with smaller companies, LLCs, S Corps, you have business owners that are in many cases supplying a retirement account. And if their employees aren't high wage earners, they are beholden to a percentage that they can put in their retirement account based on what their employees are putting in. I don't know all the regulations, but I know that there's a way that gets looked at. And so the great thing about long-term care in a work site is it doesn't count as income. It's an expense to the employer. It's a tax-free benefit. And if it's done correctly, you can lower a bonus amount if the business owners and their executives get bonuses. You can lower what the bonus amount is if they utilize some of the bonus to pay for the long-term care instead. So there's some creative ways that you can utilize long-term care in the work site. The great thing about what we have, while we don't have any concessions medically, we do have unisex premium rates, which really helps. Our issue ages are 40 to 79, and it's age nearest. That's including joint applicants. We have that unisex pricing. Now, I will tell you, if you have somebody that is really, really healthy, it's they are only doing it for themselves, and unisex pricing isn't as important. You can still do this with our regular product. It doesn't matter, but when you're talking about doing, couples and a few more employees, unisex pricing does make it look good. And then same premium rate for same age, male, female, and joint. Very, very, very competitive for couples. And almost any business with 5+ employees can apply for this, and that would mean that they would need at least 2 of the 5 to participate and be issued, okay? It's going to vary by state. Some states have a little bit different rules, and you can definitely contact us and we can let you know on that. But even if you have somebody that isn't going to be offering it to 5 employees, again, you can do the same thing just with our regular product, not the unisex pricing. We also have list bill available, and you get full compensation on this commission. It's not going to be dinged because of doing a group. How do you pay for it? The business checkbook. It's a expense to the employer for employees if they're paying for their employees, for themselves if they're anything other than a C Corp or a nonprofit. They get to deduct 100% on the front line of their taxes, an expense amount that is equal to their age eligible indexed amount for that year. Big chunk of words there. If this is something that interests you and you want to learn more, definitely contact John or myself and we can give you more information on this, because it really does make a difference. And again, I would ask each one of you, first and foremost, do you have long-term care insurance yourself? And if so, are you an independent employed person? Do you own your own practice? And then the last question, if you don't have long-term care, why not? And then the next question would be, if you do have long-term care, are you deducting your aged eligible amount on the front line of your taxes as an expense? Lots of questions to ask, but it really can help in selling long-term care. The moment an employer agrees to fund a long-term care plan, we've got that potential tax deduction. The participant rate goes way up when the employer says, yes, I will fund a benefit. Even if that benefit is just a $50 a day benefit for their top executives, participation usually in that case, everybody will get the small benefit, but it gives you the opportunity to visit with each one of these people, go home to their homes or have them come into your office or into the company office as a couple and potentially sell them a larger benefit. That is something that's really important. Overall, advisor success does definitely increase in that. So who are your ideal candidates? Where we see a lot of this being done is with business owners and their spouses, law firms, doctors and accountants, CPAs, they get it. The executive carve-out groups in those marketplaces are the ones that get it. Elder law attorneys definitely understand it. When you're talking about doctors, orthopedic doctors get it because they're the ones dealing with a lot of people. I've done a case in my past that was with physical therapists, doctors of physical therapy. Why? Boy, do they get it. And then groups that have legacy long-term care. There are a lot of people that did long-term care for their employees years ago, and then when the product went out of writing, they stopped doing it, or they put a plan in place and the advisor never did follow-up year after year to see if any new employees purchased. That's a great opportunity for you. And then when you have groups that want comprehensive benefit options, we have that lifetime option available. We've got the limited pay options of the 10-year and the single premium. Again, the return of premium and the surrender of premium are such a good opportunity. And so many more, the shared benefit, many that I'm not even going to go into. That's things that we can talk about if this is the direction that you want to go. We also have some great worksite marketing resources available on our website. We have a census form quote request out there where you fill that out, and then we will help you put together that quote, and it tells you where to send that. All of this can be downloaded right from our website. Everything is in PDF format, so it makes it really easy for you to just download it and give it to your consumer, be it a company, a business owner that you know. Your best bet is always if you can get to the business owner. HR sometimes doesn't understand it, and HR, I find, really is, they're all about being all inclusive, and in many cases, these types of plans just can't be all inclusive. They can't offer it to everybody. So it's usually the higher up executives and the business owners that understand that this could be a great benefit for just the key people, because long-term care does not follow ERISA guidelines. So you can pick and choose who you want to offer it to. The underwriting that is done is very prudent. If they're between the ages of 40 and 65, we do the prescription drug check, and we do medical records along with a phone interview. And then above 66, we do a face-to-face. If needed, and it's very infrequent, they may get a paramed exam or lab requirements, but I don't see that very often. But definitely do your underwriting pre-qualification form. Utilize that with us and send it in if you have questions. A couple of things that I really like to remind advisors about. A couple key things: when you're asking about medications, ask them if they've been on any medications that were given by the dentist or given, short term for pain, because a lot of times people have had dental work done and they're given a prescription and they forget to write that down or give that as a prescription, and it raises a red flag. So if they can be as honest as possible, less likely digging is going to happen. So always that underwriting on the front is important. And quite frankly, the other thing I want to add here is when you're doing a couple, I know the biggest issue that all carriers have is you put that shared care on, you build a policy for a couple, and then one of the couple gets declined. We need to do a better job on the front end. All of us. We need to do a better job on the front end explaining to our clients that there is a chance that one of them isn't going to get coverage because this is an underwritten product. But in the beginning, when you're talking about this, talk to them about that. Explain to them that, yes, one of you may get declined, but that's even more of a reason why you need to get this for the one that gets approved, because your resources are going to go to help the one that didn't get the policy. And you're putting that policy in place for them so that they can utilize the funds for their partner and not have to worry about themselves. So that if that declination for one of them happens, you've already eased it in and you get a higher percentage of placement of that policy. So that's something to keep in mind. So with that, I am going to have John open it up to questions, and I will answer questions. There may be some questions I'm not able to answer, but I will definitely write them down, and I will get those answers to John so then he can send them out to the advisors. Or if you want to say your name, then we can get it out to you as well.
All right, I am.
So
Excuse me.
The frog has come.
The frog has come. All right, I am unmuting everybody. So if you want, you can actually unmute your mics now and give a question. I do have a couple already from the chat, just to let you know. First one was, awesome. Please address the impact of one spouse being rated or uninsurable on the joint policy options.
Okay. If one of we'll start with the easy one. If one is uninsurable, then the other one would get offered a policy for themselves. If one of them is rated and there's shared care put on that, they would both have to be put at whatever that rate is. So if one gets rated standard, the other would also be standard because they have to be equal.
Okay. And then indemnity reimbursement product. This is obviously a reimbursement product, not an indemnity product, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then on the group pricing for worksite, is there underwriting for the group as well, or how does underwriting work when you're doing a group pricing?
No, it is. They are all underwritten individually because there's no concessions in underwriting. They don't have to look at the full group. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Need a hand?
Yeah.
All right, and then the NGL website URL, that was another question, is actually up on the screen there right now. It's ngl-essentialltc.com. But if you need any marketing pieces, brochures, or have any other questions, you can also call our office. We're happy to get you some quotes or do whatever you might need to get the marketing started for you guys there as well. Does anyone else have any other questions? Because that is all the questions that we have coming in for chat right now. You can either type your questions into the chat box or you can talk to them if you've got your microphone working as well. Okay, I'm not hearing any other than background. All right, looks
All
like
right. Well,
yep. I thank you for doing this for us today, Lori, and thank you for taking us through the various features of the product. As Lori said, if you do have any questions after today, you can either contact Lori or myself. Our contact information was in the email that you all received as the invitation to this event. If you have a specific client situation that you would like to discuss, again, feel free to call us. As Lori said, I'm happy to do some scenarios, put together different ways that we can look at this product because there are just so many different features of it that you can't find anywhere else. And when you utilize them, it does blow the competition out of the water, both traditional and hybrids. So it's very, if I can be millennial a little bit, it's a very cool product. But yeah, if anyone has any further questions on this or would like some more information, feel free to contact our office. Again, thank you, Lori, and thank you all for attending us this morning, giving us your valuable time today. And we hope to see you at our next webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.